Hey guys, it's Crystal Blazer. Just thought I'd make a short speculation Spyro video. What if Activision decided to age up Spyro in the new games after the Reignited trilogy, like they did in the Legend of Spyro reboot? And if they did age Spyro up, what changes would they have to implement in the games that portray him as an older dragon? Let us dive into this subject. Throughout the older Spyro games, Spyro has remained a young dragon, a kid hero eager to save the world. In Spyro A Hero's Tale, it's mentioned by Spyro himself that years had passed since he defeated Gnasty Gnorc, yet he's still a young dragon. Some would expect Spyro to grow a few inches taller, or at least look a little different to show that he's grown a little, since years had passed. Of course, there's also the common fan theory that dragons age slower than other species, but there isn't any proof of that in the old Spyro series. Regardless, Spyro's IP holders intended on keeping him as a kid to go along with the young target demographic of the franchise. He was designed to appeal to audiences ages 8 to 10 after all, so we can probably expect him to be a kid forever. I know in the Legend of Spyro reboot, we were given an actual teenage Spyro who was 15 years old after a 3-year time skip between The Legend of Spyro The Eternal Night and the final story title, The Legend of Spyro Dawn of the Dragon. This age glow-up doesn't interfere with the lore placed in the games, however, and instead was a design choice done by Atrons Libellud, the game developer of Dawn of the Dragon. Spyro becoming a teenager was mainly done because, number one, the Sierra Entertainment story producers wanted to age up Spyro to have him grow up with the older Spyro fanbase back in 2008 for Spyro's 10th anniversary. Number two, they did it to also upgrade his appearance to take advantage of the next generation graphics on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Nintendo Wii. And number 3, to maintain the free flight gameplay mechanic that was available in Dawn of the Dragon. While Spyro did look older since 3 years had passed, the execution of his age growth wasn't well thought out. He was strangely the same size as he was as a kid, and the developers didn't have him grow a few inches taller. Spyro was also given adult anatomy that looked crammed and rushed in order to fit into a smaller model, a result of realism being mixed with cartoon designs. And let's not forget, he canonically became a teenager after a 3-year time skip, around 15 years old. You don't look like a fully grown adult when you're still in your early teens, people. Some fans actually mistook Spyro as an adult in this game because of this, despite the obvious size differences between Spyro and the Elder Dragons. And don't be fooled by his obvious upgraded wingspan. His ability to fly was made extremely limited for the game, since he still needed to rely on air currents to carry him up to higher altitudes, and his wings are not strong enough to withstand downdrafts of air. If Activision or future IP holders of Spyro ever decide to age him up again in the new Spyro games, they have to have a logical reason why they made him grow up, not just because they're testing out the next generation graphics and all that. Only logical reason so far that's understandable for the age up is the developers actually having Spyro grow up in the story, and his age is noticed by other characters. For example, a couple of years have passed, and Spyro's a teenager. Hunter the Cheetah would mention how big Spyro's gotten, and how much faster he is when he's challenging Hunter to a game. That will be a good build-up to show the audience that Spyro has indeed grown up a bit. By aging up Spyro, I can see the developers and Activision only aging him up to a teenager, since his adult appearance would be very limited to the core gameplay. And all adult dragons in Reignited and Classic Spyro universe are completely biped. As a teenager, they can make him a little taller to show that he's grown physically, and perhaps make his age be in his mid-teenage years, 15, 16, or 17 years old. He could still look roughly the same in appearance from his design from the Spyro Reignited trilogy, but with a slightly bigger wingspan, and maybe a slightly slimmer body build that doesn't look lopsided or unbalanced like in Dawn of the Dragon. With his growing wingspan as a teenager, his ability to fly would be improved. Outside of speedway levels, Spyro will be able to choose to either glide or fly, much like how they portrayed the flight feature in Dawn of the Dragon. If he chooses to fly, I can see a flight meter being added to the gameplay to show that while he is now capable of flight, his wings are still not big enough to allow him to stay airborne for long periods of time, and he can't reach higher altitudes unless there are air currents. A neat little detail the developers can add is having Spyro stand on 2 legs at certain times, but still be quadruped during gameplay as well, just to show that he's trying to get used to standing bipedal, since he is growing up and all, and he has to use those stunts eventually. Besides Spyro being a little taller and taking on some physical changes, there's also the question on what Spyro would want to be when he grows up. What would be his occupation? Besides saving the world, of course. As shown in the credits concept art of the Spyro Reignited trilogy by Devon Katie Lee, Spyro is searching for his artistic voice by joining his dragon dads and doing various artisan activities. Sculpting, acting, making music, cooking, clockmaking, and painting. I can see the game developers exploring the idea of Spyro looking for his artistic voice, what suits him best. While they're at it, they may age up Spyro a bit. A teenage reignited Spyro who is just discovering his true artistic voice, but still accepts the call of saving the world. I've seen a lot of good takes on an older Spyro by fans, both in teenager and adult form. A lot of them vary in size, age, and design. Some I've seen were bipeds and quadrupeds. One particular fan design is done by Spyro Reignited Trilogy concept artist Nicholas Cole, who designed his reignited adult Spyro as a balloonist traveling the world with an elder Sparx the Dragonfly still accompanying him. Several other fans take after Nicholas's version on adult Spyro by drawing their takes on a teenage Spyro, like Azul LJ, Beetlebird, Travis the Dragon, and several others. There are even original fan versions on adult Spyro, including ones done by Oleson, who has their Spyro as an artisan dragon, and Cloudy Pouty, who has their Spyro as a music bard, like the artisan dragon Thomas. While the idea of Spyro growing up isn't far-fetched and has been attempted before, it has to be well executed and not shoehorned in. Making Spyro older but still keeping him kid-sized small like they did in Dawn of the Dragon is a major no-no. So for Activision and future game developers of Spyro, if you're going to age up Spyro, have him show some physical age growth. Let other characters take note of this in the game's storyline. Implement this change in gameplay that would make sense story-wise and design-wise that can still play out like a classic Spyro game. That's my input. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This was a bit longer than I thought, but worth it. Crystal Blazer signing out. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, favorite, or subscribe to my channel. Shoutouts go to Azul LJ, Travis the Dragon, Nicholas Cole, Cloudy Pouty, Beetlebird, and Alestin for allowing me to borrow their teenage and adult Spyro fan art for this video. The links to their respective Spyro fan art are posted in the description below.